When we started the campus, we were just one small building. You'll hear faculty who were here during that time talk about it was really a farm, and cows would be walking by as they could see them outside of the building. So we are quite different now. We are a world-class organization. We have architecture on our campus that rivals anything from a four-year university. In fact, people come to our campus and say, boy, this looks like a four-year school. So we have become a relatively large college, over 2,700 employees, both full-time and part-time. Over 30,000 students are enrolled at the college. And we are very much part of the fabric of Howard County. We not only are an educational institution, but we're also a cultural center for our county. So that our reputation in that area has grown as well. I believe that the college truly reflects the vision of Jim Rouse in the areas of diversity, inclusion, and equity. And when you walk on our campus, it's a microcosm of the United States, and that's what Jim Rouse was looking for Columbia and Howard County, I'd say in general, but in Columbia in particular. So I think the thing that strikes me when I walk into our cafe on the Quad and I look around and I see the rich diversity of our student body, I realize how welcoming that is to someone who maybe doesn't know anything about the college, but when they set foot in the college, they'll say, there's someone who looks like me, or that's maybe someone I know from my community, or maybe that's someone I went to school with. So there's that immediate connectedness, and I think that's what Jim Rouse was looking for. With the growth of the college, there have been challenges, and I wouldn't be a proper college president if I didn't talk about funding challenges. And they continue to grow while we're very appreciative of the state and county support, especially relative to other states in the United States. We do quite well, but if you look at the true dollar value over a period of time, that has eroded. So what that means is that students are more and more reliant on loans. And yet we try to discourage students from taking loans because if they go on to a junior and senior year, they're going to have to borrow. It's pretty rare that you go to transfer after 2 years here and not have to borrow. Financial aid has not kept up. While yes, the Pell Grants have increased, they have not kept up with the decrease in the county and state support. So students are now paying the largest share of the revenues in terms of tuition. They pay that largest share. And that's something we have to be mindful at a community college because we have to be affordable and accessible. That's part of what community colleges do. So our Board of Trustees over the years have been very good in being mindful and limiting the tuition increases. So the challenge is if you are growing and you have to limit your tuition increase and you have to limit you're limited by what the county and state can provide because they have competing priorities. You have staff. Typically, the faculty are not directly affected by this because that class size very rarely changes on average. That will stay the same. But it's your staff where you see the impact. So more and more, the demands continue to grow. So I'd say the needs of Howard Community College students over the last 50 years in some ways haven't changed. They're anticipating, hoping, and will get top-notch instruction from our faculty. We have the best faculty. We hire the best faculty, and they provide a quality education to our students. And so students have always expected that of us. And our reputation is really built on that quality. I think students will always need the services that we provide, whether that's the tutoring, financial aid, academic advising, the variety of services that we provide to single parents. Now we have a food pantry. Would I have thought 10 years ago that we would need a food pantry for students in Howard County? No, never. The world is changing. Did I think 10 years ago that we would have to arm public safety officers? No, but we do have that now. So, the world is changing and it's part of what the college is. We're not insulated here. We are the community. So another thing that I've seen that's changed over the last few years is the mental health needs of our students, which again, while we always had counseling services, we provided it, it's ramped up to a level that probably we did not anticipate. And it's happening throughout our communities. So those things, we're not sheltered here. Anything that's happening in the community is happening here at HCC. HCC has played a key role in our community in its first 50 years. It's been involved in many of the organizations that started up here within the last 50 years, like Leadership Howard County, like the Howard County Chamber of Commerce. The college has been involved in these organizations still to this day and those organizations have helped shape what the community values. One of the college's values is partnerships. So we very much are connected to key organizations, and many of our employees serve on boards. I think the other thing that, in terms of the partnerships that we value, is that we see lifelong learning as an important component. And so we have students who maybe first had their experience at HCC when they took a summer soccer camp, or maybe kids on campus with HCC. And then maybe they were dually enrolled as a high school student. And now they're taking classes here, and then they move on to either go directly into work or a four-year institution. So there's this continuum, even to the point of 60 plus, where students come and take classes and have them tuition free. So when you look at that continuum, as opposed to how people often think of a college or university where their students right out of high school, not so here at HCC. The average age is about 27 years old. And when you look at the range of programs that we offer, it's truly lifelong education. And it may not be for a degree. It may be someone coming in through our continuing education and workforce development department, where they're taking a personal enrichment course, or maybe a course to help them with skill building in their job. So I don't like to say we offer it all, because that sounds like we're a bit scattered. But the reality is that we do offer pretty much what people are looking for in terms of an educational opportunity in our community, as well as a cultural connection, which is very strong and which is what we truly value here at the college. I would say when I first came on campus, I was struck by the fact that people were extremely friendly. They made eye contact. I was coming from an urban institution where that wasn't the norm, even though I had been there 20 years. And the fact that people wanted to help and realize when you needed help, even if it was to give you directions to go to a room to be interviewed for your first job, and that is what happened to me. So I'd say that the culture here is one that's focusing on the needs of others. I just sense that, which you don't always get in other organizations. So that's one piece of it. So it's, my feeling is when I became president, I wanted to make sure that we had a welcoming and supportive environment for not just students, everyone, a welcoming and supportive environment. And if we didn't do that, what do we need to do to change that? So that's one piece of it. The other piece of our culture is a focus on excellence. And what does that mean? That means that we're focused on continuous quality improvement. Everything that we do, we examine to see how we can do it better. And that's either what happens within the classroom, if we're focused on our learning outcomes, to curriculum development, to our general education requirements, to services that we provide for our students, to how we interact with the community. And we do this all by being influenced by data. I often say we're data influenced, not necessarily data driven, but we make decisions based on data. And I think that helps a lot of people understand the college better, including people who work here. Because if you bring people back to the data, they understand the why of what we're doing. It doesn't work with folks when you say, we're going to do this, whatever it is, and let's just move on with it. If you show them the data about why we have to do things, For example, maybe our graduation rates aren't as good as we'd like them to be. Or maybe students aren't doing well in a particular area, let's just say math. So if you show the data, then faculty and staff can get around that and say, okay, well, yeah, here it is. We're not making this up. And then they can work towards improving. So I think that constant focus on improvement makes HCC unique. I'm hoping we can retain, if we looking ahead, I would love that the college still be one of the most beautiful places in Howard County to come, that will still have incredible architecture, that will still have outdoor sculpture, that will still have indigenous plantings, that will have a sustainable campus, that people will come to the college and think of it as a welcoming and supportive environment. Those are the things that I hope the college will still retain, because that is what really makes Howard Community College what it is, what makes it unique. And it's an important part of Howard County, and so I'm hopeful over the next 50 years that it will continue to improve, that it will continue to thrive, and be part of the fabric of Howard County. Community colleges have, to me, been the savior of many. Including me, because I grew up in a family where, while education was valued, there wasn't the financial means to provide a traditional four-year education. And community colleges were just coming into their own in 1970. And while I went through all-girls parochial school through high school, the fact that I would go to a community college, which at that time was kind of an unknown. They were relatively new in the 1970s, just as HCC was. My parents said, they were very supportive of me going to a community college, and it was a culture shock for me because I was engaged with folks that I hadn't been engaged with. Well, number one, I was interacting with men. I went to an all-girls school, Vietnam veterans, what we called older women in the classroom, and I was 17, so they were probably 30, but older women in the classroom as part of the women's movement. So it was such a diverse, and I grew up in the city and went to a city school, so while we had ethnic and racial diversity at my school, that was about it. So anyway, it was a whole new world, and I think that continues to this day, because when you come to Howard Community College, it's a microcosm of what is happening in the United States. You might not see that so much in other parts of the state, but you definitely see that in Howard County. And that's what makes our college so unique and wonderful, the diversity of our college community. And so I think that will continue in the years out, in 50 years out. I think people come to Howard County because it's the best place to live, and it's a place where you feel that no matter who you are, no matter what your orientation, you're going to feel that you're welcomed here. I think that is one of the things that will continue to draw people to our college. Now, community colleges overall in the United States, many of them could be saying the same thing that I'm saying right now, that we will always be there to meet the educational needs of our community, because we are the community's college. We have to be responsive, and that's part and parcel of what we are. So I don't see that changing. Once we slip away from that, if we were ever to slip away, then we're no longer the community college. We're just the public institution that doesn't have that connectedness, which is so important for us to have. We have to make sure that people understand that at the end of the day, it's all going back to the mission of the college, providing pathways to success. Is there a way that we can examine what we're doing to make it better for students? So if students are saying, well, online classes are great, but during the winter session, I really prefer taking hybrid classes because I want to have some face-to-face time over that intense period of time. Then the college is so agile, we can adapt. And that's one of the beauties of Howard Community College, our agility, our responsiveness. That's why outside organizations love working with us, because we listen, we'll say, what can we do to work with you? And we have that reputation. So it's not only outside organizations, but also students know that we're listening to them. One of the things that I do with our students is I have presidential dialogues. Every month I meet with a group of students along with the vice presidents. And it's like a focus group, but we listen to them. And those groups might be veterans, they might be nursing students, they might be STEM majors. And just to get a sense of what are we doing that seems right, what are we doing where we can improve, and then from that, those meetings we try and anything that's what we call the low-hanging fruit, try to fix that, or think about those ideas that the students have provided and incorporate them into our planning processes. We do the same with our various constituency groups, whether it's the faculty forum or the professional technical group. It's a matter of listening to what people think will make the college better. So I think 50 years out, as long as we keep listening, we'll be fine.